Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to In Our Community. I'm your host, Dave Cokerhook. This evening, we're going to be discussing and getting some examples of contemporary poetry. I have with me here on the dais Brian Kraker, who's actually, Brian is a regular here at KMVT. You work behind the scenes, and now you're in front of the camera and stuff like that. So, and this is really cool to be able to have you up here on the podium with us, Brian, to talk about your poetry.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate being here. And what I'm going to be sharing with you is some pieces that are they're more positive and upbeat, and just seeing the brighter side of things.
Well, good. So I wanted to ask you, before you get started on giving us some of your poetry, what got you started into actually writing poetry?
Okay, well, when I first started, I was in my teens and kind of going through emotional turmoil and trying to figure things out. And that's when I just started writing down ideas and feelings and just kind of brainstorming in a way.
And so why the poetic side rather than like a short story or something like that?
Because it was easier to, at that time, definitely it was more kind of scattered, and poetry is more with emotion and feeling, whereas with a short story it's more plot-based and
character-based and stuff like that. Got it. Okay. So you've got several pieces that you're going to share with us, and I think the first one that you mentioned you wanted to share with us is one that you titled Angels. So tell us, what's the story behind this?
Angels is based on seeing how people interact and help each other and are there in time of need, and just people that go about and almost do kind of miracles and take care of people. And also there's another part to it where the angel is also can be fantasy and more kind of in a heavenly sense. So
very cool. Well, we'd like to hear that, so if you would.
Okay. Angels. Angels are people who pick you up when you're down. Angels are people you can depend on. Angels are friends who will listen. Angels are there when you are in trouble. Angels watch out for us when we forget. Angels can cause time to stand still. Angels constantly are attending to people in distress. Maybe angels fly and soar in the clouds. Keeping hidden in a heavenly home, angels come to the calls of the needy. In a flash they appear without a trace, arriving to rescue and revive. As soon as they appear, they disappear, moving along to the next call. Angels are always doing good, never afraid of danger. They blind evil with love, are always on call, never wait around, keep strong to serve, watching out for danger, work together for good. Angels keep the balance, make sure to welcome them. You might need an angel soon, just in case be aware. Angels are always prepared.
Very cool. The sentiment behind that, if I might use that term, or what you're expressing there, and you're right, there are people that do things, that offer services that you look at them and how does this person manage to do that, or they have an impact on your life in a positive way, and that's really exactly what you're talking about, which is totally cool. So this type of poetry we're talking about here is identified as contemporary poetry, right? So how would you really classify contemporary poetry?
Contemporary poetry is more of a observational and reflection of what you see and your feeling about it, rather than really deep kind of how deeper kind of thoughts that sometimes can just your inner more personal.
Okay,
Yeah.
so a little bit less than, so in the contemporary sense, it's more out there. All right, well, let's move on to the next one that you've got here that you said you wanted to give us, which is called Insomnia Dreams, which is a really interesting juxtaposition of words. Insomnia Dreams, I mean, you would think you're either dreaming or you're awake, but so how did you come up with a title like that?
Because sometimes when you can't sleep, you're still daydreaming and thinking about things that are just running through your head, and you're not sleeping like dreaming in REM sleep, but you're still kind of in a state of euphoria.
Okay.
Especially when you're sleep deprived or having stuff.
Yeah, I think we've all experienced that at one time or another. Well, listen, let's have you present your second poem, Insomnia Dreams.
Insomnia Dreams. There once was a girl who tossed about. Her pillows were fluffed and her bed was soft. She would pull the sheets and cozy blanket over her head, doing her best to keep warm and quiet her mind. Her head would bounce lyrics, fragments, and ideas, constantly causing her restless nights of sleepless rest. She shuts her eyes tight and burrow deep under the covers. Escape the noise inside her thoughts. What would be a beautiful dream? Insomnia dreams of times of a simple life. Insomnia dreams of the love that will vanquish her demons. Insomnia dreams of vivid, open, optimistic vistas. Insomnia dreams of the keys to help her succeed. Insomnia screams in the night alone together, shedding her veil of insecurity, thrashing the covers away, down to the floor. Her open eyes won't shut the barrage of thoughts she hears crying out to cease her haunting. Her only escape to dream through the nightmares. Reflected the years of lost time alone, she waits for the next wave of happiness to drift asleep. Insomnia dreams of better days. Insomnia dreams of the great life. Insomnia dreams of a new happy family. Insomnia dreams of working to live in harmony. Insomnia dreams of a beautiful, healthy offspring. Insomnia screams, wake up and rise together. She tosses her head from side to side, planting her palms firmly on the mattress, stretching her body to release her thoughts, becoming twisted, conjoined, grotesque problems that morph into solid tales of defeat. She shakes violently, trying to break free from reality. Is her only way out of dreaming to be free? She hears a faint voice calling out, insomnia, insomnia, insomnia dreams of restful nights, insomnia dreams of restful nights, insomnia dreams of restful nights to help her to sleep. Insomnia dreams of traveling to distant lands, insomnia dreams of learning and being skillful. Insomnia dreams of finding honest love. Insomnia screams inside, the mind plays tricks on the body. Rest and lay back your head as thoughts dance outside. Insomnia's mind is silent. The ideas flow coherently to be recalled for future ventures. Her head is now ready to dream and become the successful love. She dreams to sleep, to wake up for tomorrow. Insomnia dreams awake in the night.
I think just about everybody at one time or another in their life struggles with who they are, what do they want to do, how are things going, how are they going to maybe try to control their destiny, what about all the things that are happening in their life. And this speaks directly to that, this poem that you just read. It's very much like, this is life. This is very cool. So tell me more about the inspiration for this one.
Well, I have quite a few friends who suffer from insomnia, and they kind of their lives have changed pretty drastically, whether it be, loss of family members, other changes, whether it be life changes, and for the better or worse. But you're still, even though you're making improvements, there's still stuff in the past that still, says the past may be done. You may be done with the past, but the past will
may not be done with you.
Yeah.
Yes, got it. Very cool. So when you look at this kind of poetry, how would you compare it to, people know of poets like Robert Frost and Walt Whitman and Ralph Waldo Emerson and stuff like that, you know. And in today's era, here in this century, is the genre of poetry that you're working with here becoming truly mainstream, like the kind of stuff that these guys were doing back in the day?
Is that becoming mainstream, like you're saying Robert Frost? And,
yeah, like what they were doing back in their time.
Yeah, some of it, yeah, definitely. It's definitely influenced a lot of poets. And theirs is more it's definitely more visual, and it tells the story.
And so poets like yourself here in 2015, it's a growing group, a movement, if you would. I don't know if that's the right term, but is this more of the style of poetry that you would expect to see here in 2015 as opposed to what you would expect to see in 1837?
1837, I think, would be more kind of romantic.
Yeah, I know, but this is what here today. This is current. This is like, and it's not just you. There are thousands of men and women like you who are writing poetry in this style. That's what I'm getting?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Very cool. All right, well, we're going to move on here to the next one, which is called A Very Special Cherry Tree, which is it sounds George Washington-ish right there. So we just had President's Day, you know, that comes to mind. So let's have you tell us about A Very Special Cherry Tree.
A Very Special Cherry Tree is basically a childhood memory and something that I enjoyed doing when I was very young. And it really stuck out with me, and this is one of the few that I actually wrote about my actual boyhood and growing up, rather than like when I said about a teenager. It was more just the emotional stuff. This is actually something of an event. And
very cool. So let's hear it.
A Very Special Cherry Tree. I can vividly remember how we used to climb up to my neighbor's cherry tree. The white cherry blossom covered the branches hanging high over the fence, allowing me access to the sweet, juicy fruit. Scurrying out the door to the backyard, pushing through tall weeds, my eyes would get big and shine like silver dollars. I would grasp onto the shaky fence and hoist myself onto the flat, smooth wood cap. Ducking down, doing my best to stay hidden, the tree provided both support and a tasty treat. Many hours of joy and happiness were given by that tall, beautiful tree. The tree seemed like it stood over 20 feet tall. I was only 5 or 6 then. My hands would push through the leaves, plucking pairs of cherries. Sometimes I would take my mom's bright plastic yellow bowl and gather the red cherries that I would save for later. The tree was filled with so many cherries, oh so many, that I could pick cherries till winter. That tree was strong and very bountiful. It had to be the largest cherry tree I ever saw. In April, the tree would start to blossom. Mid-May, the cherries appeared. They would begin green and then turn deep purplish red. The big round ones had the most flavor. Sometimes I would grab onto the branches and shake them, doing all I could to get the ones on the top branches loose. The cherries would just bounce up and down and wait for somebody with a ladder to pick them. Picking cherries was one of my favorite summer activities. Sometimes I would be sitting on the fence, just picking and tasting till night. Mom called me in for supper, jumping down into the yard, racing into the house with red stained hands and red all around my mouth. I love cherries so much that my folks planted a cherry tree in our yard.
Very cool. That is a great childhood story. It comes through right in that. Let me ask you this about poetry and writing poetry. The things that you've shared with us so far are what I guess the term is free verse. There isn't like when I was in school, I won't tell you how long ago that was, but you're looking at poems and they had this stuff about the beat, the how, you know, and it was a da 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 da, that kind of a thing. There was a rhythm to it, but there's not so much a rhythmic thing here in the poetry that you're writing that you share with us now. But I'm wondering if you write poems that have more of that type of a meter to it. I'm just curious.
Some of the poetry, yeah, some of the poetry I have written does have more of a kind of wordplay to it, and it does have a rhyme and rhythm where it kind of flows.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of taking it more now where it's the actual subject and the observation of
So what I'm hearing from the way you're explaining that, it's real life is what your real life experiences trigger the creativity within you to put something on paper and to write a poem. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, yes, definitely, yeah.
That's very cool. So where does that take us now in terms of what you wanted to share with us now? Which one is the next one on your list here?
Oh, Summer is Knocking.
Okay, and how did this one come about?
Well, I was thinking that the weather's been wonderful, but on the East Coast it hasn't, been as great as here. But I just thought that kind of having that contrast between winter and summer, and just kind of reminding people about the joy and fun of the summer season.
Okay, let's hear it.
Summer is knocking. Cold winds, gray skies, rainy days, frigid days, long nights, winter storms. Bundle up, keep warm. Stay home, migrate south, build a fire, hibernate, stay healthy. Winter is here, no time to worry. Sunny days soon, spring around the corner. The rivers will flow, the birds will soar, the beasts will awaken, people will smile and explore. Now summer is knocking, it is time to go out, make new friends, participate, learn, grow, and enjoy. Long bright summer days, the sun feels wonderful. Spring is my favorite season, summer is most anticipated. It's a fun time of year when children play outside, when families go to the beach, when teenagers find new love. When summer knocks, oh what excitement those days will offer.
Indeed, summer for sure. You know, I was talking to a gentleman this afternoon on Long Island in New York, and I said, I said, hey, I'm out here in California. It's like 65, 68 degrees and sunny and it's beautiful. And he says, well, here, because they were in like 3-degree weather and the wind is blowing and it's terrible. So and we'll have to send him a copy of this poem so he can begin to prepare and think forward to what it's going to be like in the ensuing months. So that was pretty cool. So you started writing when you were like you said, in your teens. And how have you felt your poetry has evolved over the ensuing time?
It's evolved where when I started, it was definitely more kind of free verse and just a mishmash of ideas and a kind of data dump of what I was feeling. And then it became actual, observations and seeing things, whether it be political, more cultural, and things about around us or what's happening in the world. Mm-hmm. And then from the worldly point of view, it's now become more precise and just focused on one subject, and rather than here's 20 or 50 different things
in one
sentence,
poem.
Yeah,
so there's, okay.
In a run-on sentence. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So is there a group of you? I mean, do you have other artists, poets, writers that you sit around with? I mean, you think about the days they talk about how there were certain places and times in history when you had some, whether the writers or whatever, and they were in the same place. Artists, the painters, they tended to congregate. They knew each other. Do you have a group that you just are with that you share your works and stuff like that?
No, I don't have any.
No.
No, no.
Oh. You should start one maybe, because I'm sure there are other people out here who are listening to what you're doing, who themselves have that level of creativity in them. And you know, it's always great to be around your peers, because you can you grow together, and that would be a good thing. So there you go. That's your challenge. Go start a local group for contemporary poets here in Mountain View.
Okay. We'll have kind of like an open mic. Or
there you go. That would be cool. That would be cool. So what do you have next for us?
This one's called Roses. And Roses, I wrote this one recently. Basically, yeah, Valentine's Day was about a week ago.
Right.
And I just thought of something, you know, that's very beautiful and just kind of simple, but is more heartfelt.
All right, let's hear it.
Roses. The rose is a precious gift offered as a symbol of love. Its petals are full of color. They curl open, revealing beauty. Inside we feel wonderful. When we receive a rose, who should receive a rose? A yellow rose for friendship and appreciation, green for rejuvenation of spirit, lavender to ignite a new love. Each color has a powerful effect on the mind and the heart. The red is most common and recognized. It is the flower that is most associated with love and romance. Passion flows through our bodies. Wants to stick together. When we show commitment, opening up and blossoming together. Two roses intertwined together symbolizes the deepest of commitments, communicating, "Marry me." A single rose can warm the heart. Give 13 to a secret crush, fold the petals back and rub them in between your fingers. Breathe in the sweet aroma of a rose. Hold it up to your heart and offer it to your sweetheart.
Very cool. Very cool. And you're right about the roses and the impact that giving a rose has to someone over this Valentine's Day. I told you before, I sing with a barbershop quartet, and on Valentine's Day we go out and we deliver singing Valentines to unsuspecting people. Go to their place of business, they have no idea someone sent them a Valentine, and it's amazing what that just, you know, the music, sure, but the rose is always an incredibly special thing, and it just has a lot of meaning when someone gets that. So very beautiful. Good job. So you've been writing for a long time. You've been doing. You've evolved. And where do you want to take your art? Where do you want to go from here with respect to your poetry?
As far as where I'll go is, I've definitely been more introverted in the poetry. I've just written it and haven't shared it as much. So sharing it more and kind of getting it out there, and like you suggested, to work with other people and build.
Have you compiled any of your works into like a publication?
I've done that for personal and kind of for family and friends, but as far as publishing, haven't done anything
along those lines yet. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we have time enough for one more, and what have we got here? I think the next one you mentioned is called Standing Tall.
Yes.
All right. Tell us about Standing Tall.
This is about the redwoods in Northern California, because I took a trip up there last summer, and because I've always wanted to visit the giant redwoods in what's called the Avenue of the Giants. And it's just amazing. I mean, it goes on for miles and miles, and they're just huge. And you just stand there and go, wow.
All right, well, give us that wow.
Have you ever stood next to a redwood? Redwoods are legendary and full of life. Just imagine what they have seen and lived through. Some of the oldest have survived through famines, pestilences, and horrific wars. I wonder if they even have time to reflect. Looking up at the redwoods towering over us seems like all they only are focusing on is growing stronger each year. They are the protectors of the forest. They serve as guardians and beacons for life, providing refuge and shelter for the tiny critters. Birds soar from branch to branch, keeping watch for dinner. Some animals hide in the tree's trunk from predators. Some people climb the trees for adventure and exercise. No matter what happens, the trees stand tallest. Some of the tallest trees are in the avenue of the giants. My, how I looked up and tried to see to the top. All that I saw was a gigantic trunk with a green canopy. The green branches are the forest ceiling, keeping everything cool and covered from the elements. The ground is a moist, rich soil, providing the giants their nutrients. Their roots soak in and keep the giants firmly planted to the earth. These trees are the epitome of a natural dynasty. Some stand tall in groups, creating a sacred circle, meeting at the top to lock branches and support one another. A few of the giants have fallen and carved out an open pathway amongst their brothers. The fallen lay across the floor of the forest like sunken ships on the ocean floor, their roots hanging in the air like long strands of hair. Standing tall, the giants watch over the fallen. Leaning and hovering above, some look like they may be next. They will only know when they will fall. They will continue to stand tall, keep growing, pushing up to the sky. Gaining strength, light, and water is the energy the giants stand tall for us to enjoy. Their natural beauty and natural power, beauty and silence of the forest. The giants seem forever. Their time spans generations, from the dark ages to the information age. If the giants could only talk, what tales they would share. Standing tall, the giants are to be honored and respected as sacred treasures in California.
True enough. Anyone who has been there and seen the giant redwoods would understand. So we're virtually out of time. They're giving me the, I got to finish up type signal here, but I did have one question for you, hopefully. Do you do any public performances of your poetry other than here on KMVT?
Sometimes at open mics, and that's usually where I'd perform, but nothing that's a regular.
Nothing
schedule,
regular and formal. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed this poetry. We have a live studio audience here tonight, and I think they've enjoyed it. I can see heads nodding back here, and I certainly did. Brian, thank you so much for sharing your art with us. We really appreciate it. And ladies and gentlemen, come back next time to In Our Community.